Your dog has been listening to you for years, and for years you have been speaking the wrong language. There is a 7-year-old Weimaraner named Titan who does something every single time his owner, a high school teacher named Marisol, raises her voice. Not at him, not even in the same room as him, just raises her voice. He walks to the corner of the kitchen, curls his long silver body into the smallest shape he can make, and waits. Marisol thinks he is being dramatic. She has no idea that what she is watching is not drama. It is biology. It is a nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. And what it was built to do is survive. Titan is not being sensitive. Titan is doing the only thing his brain knows how to do when the emotional temperature in the room spikes past a certain point. He is protecting himself. From her. From the person he loves most in the entire world. This video is about why that happens. And more importantly, it is about what you can do instead. Here is the thing about dogs and human language that most people never fully reckon with. Dogs are not bad at understanding English. They are extraordinarily good at understanding something else entirely. Something older. Something that goes much deeper than words. Scientists have spent the last decade putting dogs inside MRI machines while they are fully awake, watching in real time as their brains light up in response to human speech. What they found changed everything we thought we knew about the relationship between a dog and the sound of your voice. The canine brain splits the human voice into two completely separate streams the moment it enters the ear. The left side of the brain handles the meaning of words, the actual definition of what you are saying. The right side handles something else entirely. It handles the emotion behind those words, the pitch, the volume, the tremor of frustration, or the warmth of love. And here is the part that matters most. The right side, the emotional side, is always louder. Think about what that means for a moment. When you stand in the kitchen and you shout the word "no" at your dog for the 4th time in a row, your dog's brain is running 2 calculations simultaneously. The left hemisphere is searching its memory banks for the phonetic pattern of that word, trying to match sound to meaning. But the right hemisphere has already decided the outcome. It does not care what the word means. It is reading the rage in your voice, the tightness in your throat, the way the pitch has sharpened into something that sounds, to an animal whose ancestors spent 10,000 years reading predators, exactly like a threat. You think you are correcting a behavior. Your dog thinks something dangerous is about to happen. There is a research finding that does not get nearly enough attention, and it is this. The reward center of a dog's brain, the part that lights up with the warmth of praise and connection, only activates when the word and the tone match. When both say the same thing. A kind word delivered in a flat voice goes nowhere, and a harsh word delivered in any tone at all becomes something else. It becomes emotional weather. And your dog is always checking the forecast. Somewhere right now, there is a dog pressing its nose against a cold glass door, watching for a car that has not arrived yet. It has been watching for 20 minutes. It started watching before the owner even left the highway. No one told it the car was coming. No one needed to. That is the animal you are talking to when you open your mouth. An animal that reads the world at a frequency humans forgot they had. And what that animal hears when your voice goes hard is not a lesson. It is not a boundary. It is not information. It is a storm rolling in from a direction it cannot run from. Because the storm is coming from inside the house. But here is where the story takes a turn. And it is a turn that will change the way you move through your days with this animal you love. What happens inside the dog's brain when you stop using words entirely? When you trade language for something quieter and much older than language? That is where everything becomes something close to beautiful. The word "no" is not a boundary. For a dog, in the middle of a moment that has already exceeded its threshold, The word no is a detonator. This is not a metaphor. This is anatomy. Deep inside the temporal lobe of every mammal on Earth lives a small, dense cluster of neurons shaped roughly like an almond, the amygdala. Its entire purpose, its only job, is to scan incoming sensory information for signs of threat and respond with absolute, immediate authority. It does not wait for context. It does not consult logic. It acts. When Titan hears Marisol's voice climb above a certain volume, when the cadence shifts and the warmth drains out of the sound, his amygdala does not register the words she is saying. It registers the acoustic signature of danger. And in the next fraction of a second, a cascade begins that Titan has no power to stop. His adrenal glands dump adrenaline and stress chemicals into his bloodstream. His heart accelerates. His muscles flood with blood. His digestion halts. His vision narrows. And the part of his brain responsible for thinking, for problem-solving, for remembering what he has been taught, goes dark. Not metaphorically dark. Chemically, measurably dark. The stress hormones themselves suppress the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain where learning lives. So here is the terrible irony at the heart of every scolding that has ever happened between a human and a dog. The moment you raise your voice to teach your dog a lesson, you have already made it neurologically impossible for your dog to learn. The lesson you are trying to deliver has nowhere to land. What lands instead is the fear. The fear is stored. The fear is added to a growing file that the amygdala keeps, a file labeled this person, this house, this sound, and what it means for my safety. And every time you do it again, that file gets thicker. That threshold gets lower. Eventually, the file does not need a loud voice to open. It opens at the first sign of tension. It opens when you walk in the door after a hard day. It opens because your dog can smell the cortisol on you before you have said a single word. Dogs subjected to harsh verbal correction carry measurably higher levels of stress hormones in their saliva on ordinary, quiet days. Their bodies are not resting. They are bracing. Always bracing. There is a name in behavioral science for what happens when the amygdala takes over. They call it the hijack, because that is exactly what it is. Something ancient and involuntary seizes the controls, and the thinking animal inside your dog vanishes, replaced by something that is operating purely on survival software. And survival software has only 4 options. Fight. Bark louder, growl harder, lunge at the thing that is frightening you. Flight. Tuck the tail, flatten the ears, try to get as far from the sound as possible. Freeze. Go absolutely still and wait for the threat to pass. Or fiddle. Do something that seems completely unrelated. Scratch at nothing, sniff the floor, yawn at a moment when yawning makes no sense. Anything to discharge the overwhelming internal pressure. When you see your dog doing any of these things in response to your voice, you are not seeing stubbornness. You are not seeing defiance. You are seeing a nervous system that has decided this is a survival situation and is doing everything it knows how to do. And here is the part that is hardest to sit with. Your dog does not experience your anger as your anger. Your dog experiences your anger as its own fear. There is a process called emotional contagion, and in dogs it runs deeper than in almost any other species. Their brains contain networks of neurons that mirror the emotional states of the humans around them. When you are frightened, they feel frightened. When you are calm, something in them quiets too. When you are furious, your dog is not watching your fury from a safe emotional distance. Your dog is drowning in it. The storm does not stay with you. It jumps. Every single time. Marisol does not know this. Most people do not. She comes home from 9 hours of managing 30 teenagers, her nervous system worn to a thread, And when Titan barks at the delivery driver for the third time that week, she snaps. Not cruelly, just the way people snap when they are tired and overwhelmed and have nothing left. And Titan, who has been holding himself together all afternoon waiting for her, tucks himself into that kitchen corner again. He is not punishing her for snapping. He is protecting himself from the storm that just moved into the room. He loves her completely, and he is terrified of what she sounds like right now. But the story does not end here, because somewhere in the ancient wiring of the mammalian brain, there is a doorway, and it does not require words to open it. There is a reflex so old it predates language itself, so old it exists in fish, and it may be the most powerful tool in the entire history of human and dog communication. Ivan Pavlov discovered it almost by accident. He was in his laboratory, running conditioning experiments on dogs, when a door slammed somewhere in the building. Every dog in the room stopped what it was doing instantly. They were not afraid. They were not fleeing. They were simply and completely arrested by the sound. Ears forward, bodies still, attention absolute. He called it the "what is it" reflex. Science calls it the orienting reflex. And what Pavlov understood in that moment was that a novel, neutral sound possesses a kind of neurological authority that no emotional, meaning-laden word ever can. Here is why. When a sharp, unexpected sound reaches the ears, it takes a shortcut. It bypasses the emotional processing centers of the brain entirely and lands in a small structure in the midbrain called the superior colliculus. The superior colliculus does one thing, and it does it with breathtaking speed. It calculates the direction of the sound and fires motor commands directly to the eyes, the ears, and the neck muscles. Orient toward the stimulus, now. This happens before the dog has had a chance to decide anything, before the amygdala has had a chance to weigh in, before fear or memory or association can color the experience. The dog simply turns. And in that turn, something important happens. The chaotic behavioral loop the dog was caught in, the barking at the window, the frantic circling, the destructive chewing, that loop breaks. The brain has been given new information to process, and because the sound carries no emotional charge, no anger, no history of punishment, no radiation of human stress, the amygdala stays quiet. The stress hormones stay in their containers. The prefrontal cortex stays online. The dog is fully present, calm, looking at you, ready. A tongue click, a soft whistle, a quiet, crisp sound that you make the same way every time. That is all it takes to hand a dog's entire attention back to you without taking anything from it, without costing it a single gram of peace. Try to imagine what that is like from the inside. To have been spinning inside a loop of arousal and noise, and then to hear one clean, neutral note that pulls you gently out of it and places you in a room that suddenly feels safe again. That is what the orienting reflex does. It does not punish the dog for being in the loop. It simply opens a door. Marisol learned this on a Tuesday in November. She had been working with a trainer for 3 weeks, and she was still skeptical. It felt too small, she said later. It felt like it could not possibly work for something as loud, as physical as Titan when he got going. The delivery driver pulled up. Titan launched himself at the window, all 80 pounds of gray muscle and unspent anxiety. And Marisol, instead of raising her voice, clicked her tongue once. Softly. Just once. Titan stopped. He turned. He looked at her. And in that look was something she had not seen in a long time. Not fear. Not guilt. Not the careful, watchful caution of an animal managing a volatile environment. Just curiosity. Just openness. Just her dog, looking at her, waiting to see what came next. She placed a treat on the floor near her feet. He walked to her. She put her hand on his side and breathed out slowly. And within about 30 seconds, he had matched her breathing. She told the trainer afterward that she cried in the kitchen for 5 minutes after the driver left. Not because it worked, but because she finally understood what Titan had been asking for all along. Not commands, not corrections, just a way back to her. The next time your dog is caught in a spiral, try it. Make a sound that you have never used before. Something clean and brief. A single click with the side of your tongue. A soft tss. Anything that carries zero emotional freight. And then, watch what happens in your dog's eyes. That moment of turning, that pause, that quiet return of attention. That is not a trick. That is your dog's nervous system recognizing that the storm has passed and the coast is clear. That is your dog choosing to come home to you. Your dog is not waiting for you to be perfect. Your dog is waiting for you to be safe. There is a difference between those two things, and that is a difference that changes everything about how you show up in the hours you share together. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking, choosing, self-regulating part of the brain, does not disappear in dogs when things get hard. It gets drowned. It gets chemically overwhelmed by stress hormones until it cannot do its job. But it is always there, waiting for the water to recede, waiting for the signal that it is allowed to come back online. When you replace the angry word with the neutral sound, when you hold your breath for a second and regulate the temperature of your own voice before you open your mouth, you are not just helping your dog. You are helping your dog's brain find its way back to its own intelligence. Scientists studying canine self-control have watched, inside an MRI, the exact moment a dog decides to hold still instead of lunging. They have seen the specific region of the prefrontal cortex light up with effort and intention. They have watched a dog choose. And what allows that choice to exist is the absence of the chemicals that would erase it. Your calm is not weakness. Your quiet is not permissiveness. Your calm is the only environment in which your dog's brain can actually do what you are asking it to do. This is the part that no training manual says plainly enough. The most powerful training tool you have is your own nervous system. Not your voice, not your commands, the temperature of your breathing, the steadiness of your posture, the emotional weather you carry into the room when you walk through the door. Your dog is reading all of it, all of the time, with a precision that would astonish you if you could see it from the outside. Somewhere in a house right now, a dog is lifting its head from a nap because a car has turned onto the street 3 blocks away. Not because it heard the car, because it heard the change in the wind that means the car is coming. That is the creature that is living with you. That is the level of attention that is fixed on you every moment of every ordinary day. And that creature, that sensitive, ancient, extraordinary animal, has been doing its absolute best to make sense of a world that was not built for it. A world full of noise and speed and human emotional weather that changes without warning and means something different every time. The least we can do is meet it halfway. Which means this: before you say anything, feel what you are about to say. Not the words, the feeling behind the words. Ask yourself what temperature you are projecting right now. Ask yourself what your dog's nervous system is about to receive. And if the answer is anything that resembles pressure or frustration or anger, take one breath first. Let that breath be the whole speech. You will be amazed how often that is enough. Titan started sleeping through delivery trucks by February, not because Marisol trained it out of him, because she stopped making the delivery trucks worse by responding to them with her own alarm. She stopped adding her nervous system to his. She became, in the language his body understood, a prediction of safety instead of a prediction of escalation. And his body, slowly, believed her. That is what rebuilding a relationship with your dog's nervous system looks like. Not a single dramatic moment of breakthrough, just 1,000 small choices. To breathe first, to speak less, to click instead of shout, to be the stillest thing in the room when everything else is loud, to drop the burden of words and offer something your dog can actually use. There is something Titan does now that Marisol only noticed recently. When she sits on the couch after dinner, tired in the specific way that teachers are tired, hollowed out from a day of giving everything to everyone, Titan comes and rests his head on her knee. He does not ask for anything. He does not bark or circle or demand. He just places the weight of his head exactly where it needs to be. And they sit like that, in the quiet, for as long as she needs. She does not know how long he has been doing this. She suspects it has always been his response to that particular kind of tired. She just did not notice until she got quieter herself. Think about the life you are living right now. The years you have traveled through to be exactly where you are. Every job you have worked, and every night you could not sleep, and every version of yourself you have had to become to get from there to here. You carry decades. You carry complexity. You carry a story that would take months to tell. Your dog's entire world fits inside you. Every morning is you. Every meal is you. Every sound that means safety. Every smell that means home. Every ordinary moment that turns an ordinary room into a sanctuary. That is you. You are not just the most important person in your dog's life. You are the entire landscape of it. And your dog has no idea how long that landscape will last. Dogs live, on average, somewhere between 10 and 15 years, which sounds like a long time, until you are holding an old dog's head in your hands and suddenly understand that you are not at the middle of the story. You are somewhere near the end of it, and you did not know. No one ever knows. The ending always arrives in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, when you are not paying attention, when you are looking at your phone or making dinner, or thinking about something that will not matter to you in 5 years. Right now, tonight, your dog is here. That is not a small thing. That is the whole thing. So here is what I want you to do in the next 60 seconds. Just 60 seconds. Go find your dog. If they are already near you, even better. Place your hand flat against the warmth of their side. Feel them breathe. Let your own breathing slow to meet theirs. Do not say anything. Just be in the room with them, the way they are always in the room with you, completely, without conditions, without distraction. Just here. That is the whole ceremony. That is 60 seconds of giving back a fraction of what they have been giving you every day without being asked. Tell me in the comments, what is the sound your dog makes when you come home? That specific sound that your dog makes for no one else in the world. The channel right here is for people who see their dogs the way dogs deserve to be seen. Not as pets, not as problems to be managed, but as the irreplaceable, extraordinary creatures they are. If that is the kind of person you are, subscribe, because this is exactly where you belong. And the next video we are making together is about something your dog does while you sleep that most owners never know about. And when you find out what it is, you may never sleep the same way again. Do not go too far.